all enzymes is completed the enzymes. Now we will discuss about to the mineral nutrition. First, I will share my PPT, mineral nutrition. 1 second. Mm. First, mineral nutrition. After that one, water and plant relationship we will discuss. Okay. 1 second. I'll share my PPT. Yes. What are the minerals? How to importance of minerals in plant growth? How can you can observe the minerals? General roles of mineral elements in plants. A complete ash analysis of a plant may show at least trace of near of the elements in the periodic table. But all of them are not required by the plant for nutrition. Okay? After they have been observed, elements are never present inside the plant in the free state. They are generally found in ionic forms or as a constituent of organic compounds. When plant material is burnt in air, the organic matter is destroyed and a residue of inorganic salts, the ash remains. The range of concentration of various elements in plant ash is shown. Nitrogen is released in the form of ammonia and gaseous oxidized and is therefore not present in the ash. Sulfur is also probably lost in similar manner. Lost in the similar manner. Potassium constituent about 50% of plant ash. Okay, the plant is also rich in calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Okay, here the main important uh, three elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, constitutions of plant body. Before we will discussion about the mineral, what is the constitution of plant body? It is a well known that elements like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It is well known that elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen are most important plant nutrient. These are the most important of the plant nutrient. These three. What are the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen? These three is the most important plant nutrient required in the production of carbohydrates. Where you can observe in this one required the production of carbohydrates, which either into the composition of cell wall and protoplasm also. Okay, constituents of plant body. It is well known that elements like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are most important plant nutrient required in the production of carbohydrates, which enter into the composition of cell wall and protoplast. They are therefore called framework. These are all called the framework elements. Elements like another elements. Another elements like what are they? Like sulfur. In case you can take the sulfur, sulfur one. Next one is the phosphorus, sulfur, phosphorus. And second thing is the phosphorus. Next one is the nitrogen. Okay. Next one is a nitrogen are required in the formation of protein, which is an important constant of protoplasm. These elements are therefore known as protoplasmic elements. What are the protoplasmic? Three elements are the mostly important for the requirement production of the carbohydrates, entire composition of cell wall and protoplasm. What are they? Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, CHO. CHO is the required for the production of the carbohydrates and that is the cell wall and protoplasm. Therefore, this called the framework elements, CHO. The elements, another elements like, what are the another elements like sulfur, phosphorus, nitrogens are required for protein formation of protein synthesis, which is an important constant of protoplasm. These elements are therefore known as protoplasmic elements. Okay, here two types of elements are there. One is the framework elements. Second one is the protoplasmic elements. Elements like calcium, magnesium, important. Okay, these three is, another elements, calcium, Ca, calcium. Second one, magnesium. The second one is called the magnesium. Calcium and second thing is the magnesium are important constituent of the cell wall and chlorophyll respectively. So, formation constituent of the two. One is the cell wall, second one is the chlorophyll representatively, respectively. Now, did you understood what is the constituent plant body? CHO is the framework elements, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. These are called framework elements to composition of the cell wall and protoplasm. Another elements is the protoplasmic elements. What are the sulfur, phosphorus, nitrogen is the protoplasmic elements. This is the formation of protein synthesis and requirement important constituent of protoplasm. These elements are called known as protoplasmic elements. Another elements, calcium, magnesium, important constant is the main important to made up of cell wall and chlorophyll respectively. Okay, here in addition carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, plants need a variety of elements such normal growth and development. Plant absorbs minerals through their root from the soil where they are primarily present in the form of inorganic ions. Okay, inorganic ions. Next one, these elements, how is the uh, these elements, before in that one, influence on the osmotic pressure of plant cell. The cell sap contain mineral salts and organic compounds. Okay. What is the osmotic pressure? What is the osmotic pressure influence? Osmotic pressure influence, first before the essential, what is the osmotic influence osmotic pressure of plant. The cell sap contain mineral salts and organic compounds. Both the constituent are responsible for osmotic pressure of the cell. The cell sap contains minerals, salts, and organic compound. Both the constituent are responsible for osmotic pressure of the cell. Second one, influence on pH. The mineral elements absorbed from the soil affect the H plus ion concentration of the cell sap depending on the nature of the element. Next, another one, influence on the permeability of cytoplasmic membrane. Cytoplasmic membrane, the permeability of the cytoplasmic membrane is our constant, while some ions have decreasing effect on the permeability. Other have an increasing effect. Next one, fifth one is the toxic effect of mineral elements. Elements like arsenic, copper, mercury, these are the toxic minerals, elements. What are they? As arsenic, copper, mercury, etc. are known to have toxic effect upon the protoplasm under the certain condition. Catalytic function. Elements like iron, copper, zinc, manganese, etc. act as catalysis in various enzymic reactions going on in the plants. Next one, antagonistic or balancing function. Elements are their salts are generally known to offset the normal effect of each other in the cell. This is known as antagonism or blanching effect. This is the all the mineral general role. The general role roles of the minerals, constituent plant body, influence on the osmotic pressure of plant cell, influence on the pH, influence on the permeability of cytoplasmic membrane, toxic effect of mineral elements, catalytic functions, antagonistic or blanching function. These are the role of the enzyme. Coming to the soils culture of hydroponics. These are there, no? Before this one, here essential and non-essential elements are the most important. What are the essential and what are the non-essential elements are there? It has since long been known that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are essential elements for the plant. Which one is the essential elements? CHO, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is the essential elements for the plants. In the middle of last century, water culture and sand culture. See, listen carefully. Water culture and sand culture, these experiment had established that the elements nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and iron were indispensable for the plant. In these absence of any one of these elements, the growth of shoot or root was stunted. Pathological effects. For example, chlorosis, premature withering of leaves become apparent and the plants died before flowering. These elements which carbon, hydrogen and oxygen were grouped together as the essential elements. The rest of elements were considered to be either toxic or insignificant for the cells. Gradually, however, with the use of refund techniques, it became evident that small quantities of certain other elements were also essential and that they were already present in the trace in the ordinary sand or water culture used in their earlier experiments. The earlier workers were also unaware of the fact that the chemicals used by them contain these elements as impurities. Besides, small traces of these elements might be present in the seed. It is now definitely known that the elements, what are the boron, magnesium, zinc, copper, molybdenum, fluoride are also essential elements. As should be the essential role of these six elements were demonstrated rather recently of 16 elements listed above. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and iron are required by the plants in large quantities and are hence known as major elements or macro elements. What is the macro? CHO, NSPK, CHO, NSPK, MgCaFe, CHO, NS, NSPK, CHO, NSPK, MgCaFe. C, ఒకటి first one C, second hydrogen, carbon, second hydrogen, third oxygen, fourth nitrogen, fifth sulfur, sixth phosphorus, seventh one potassium, eighth one magnesium, ninth one calcium, 10th one iron. These are macro elements or major elements. CHO, NaPK, NSPK, CHO, NSPK, MgCaFe, CHO, NSPK, MgCaFe. These are macro elements. The rest of elements. Macro how many? 3, 3, 6, 9, 10. Total 10 is the macro. Remaining how many? Rest of remaining boron, manganese, boron, boron, manganese, boron, manganese, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine, mineral. Only how many? 6. 16 elements lo, total 16 elements lo, total 16 elements, 10 is the macro, remaining is the manganese, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine. These are needed in very small concentration and are variously termed as minor elements, rare elements, trace elements, or micronutrient. These are all called, what is the, these are name is called micronutrients. These are names are the micronutrients. One second. See, essential elements and non-essential elements, carbon, nitrogen, magnesium, iron, these are the essential elements. These are the non-essential. 20 elements have been essential. Out of these, 17 are given. Apart of from essential, these are the essential elements. See, macro and micro elements. Macro elements is the CHO, NSPK, CHO, NSPK, Mg, CaFe, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, magnesium. What are the, these are the 9, plus here 10 is it. 8 is the micro, iron, zinc, magnesium, boron, molybdenum, chlorine, nickel. Remaining other, you can by heart it. These 10 is the macro. These 8 is the micro elements. Many workers believe that a number elements are likely to be added to the list of essential elements, whether better technique or adapted. Like the vitamin in animal nutrition, the mineral elements are often essential, often considered, often considered, namely considered mainly in relation to the pathological symptoms. Pathological symptoms produced by their deficiencies from the physiological point of view, it is much more important to study the physiological understanding mechanism for these symptoms because similar because similar symptoms may result from definitions of several different elements. These are the several different elements. Deficiency of the essential elements result in the abnormality in the affected plant. A specific pattern of abnormalities is the characteristic of the deficiency of each element. The nature of the deficiency symptoms often correlates with the function of an element in plants. In plant structure or metabolism, iron, for example, is necessary for the chlorophyll formation. Iron is the necessary for the chlorophyll, and it is deficiency result in a striking chlorosis in the young leaves. The essential of a particular mineral can be known by using the artificial methods of sand culture, solution culture. The plant is allowed to grow in an artificially provided nutrient culture which contain all known as essential elements except one particular element, the necessary essential of which is to be determined. Any derivations in the normal structure or metabolism of the plant is ascribed to the absence of that element. This method is used not only determining the essentiality of different elements but also in finding out the specific role of various elements. Another creator of determining essential elements by finding out of the nutrient function. These elements is specific, cannot be replaced by other elements. Other elements. See this one. I'll explain to the this one. This mineral nutrition, soil culture or hydroponics. What is the soil culture? What is the hydroponics? After that one, each and every element to be read out. Okay. Soil culture, the technique of cultivation. Soil culture meaning the technique of cultivation of plants by placing their roots directly in nutrient solution. Okay, what is the technique? What is this one soil culture? The plants, the technique of the cultivation, the technique of the cultivation, uh, the technique of the technique of the cultivation plants by placing the plants by placing the roots directly. The roots are the directly in nutrient solution. Okay, nutrient solution. Julius Sachs, the scientist name Sachs. What is the name? Sachs name Julius Sachs. The Julius Sachs, mm, in 1860. Julius Sachs in 1860, in 1860, a prominent German botanist. A scientist is a prominent German botanist. For the first time, demonstrated that plant could be grown to maturity to defined nutrient solutions defined to the nutrient solutions. These defined nutrient solution in complete absence of soil. During this experiment, or elements was added. Experiment or element was added or removed removed or given in varied concentration. Thus, a mineral solution suitable mm, suitable for the plant growth was obtained. In this method, purification of water and nutrient salt is done regularly. Nutrient solution need to be adequately obtained optimum growth. What is this? Is a hydroponics. That definition, the method of cultivation plants in nutrient-rich solution without soil is called hydroponics. This is the hydroponic. Digital of a hydroponics is a typical system. See, this is a nutrient solution. This is the aerating tube. This one is a cotton funnel for adding water nutrient. This is the cotton and this is a plant. Okay. Significances, essential elements. Here, essential elements were identified and their deficiency systems. Identified and deficiency systems discovered. Hydroponics. Hydroponics has been hydroponics has been successfully employed. Hydroponics has been successfully employed as a technique for commercial production. Techniques for commercial production of vegetables such as tomatoes, seedless cucumber, and lettuce leaves in some countries. Vegetables and flowers cultivated around the year. What are the criteria to determine the essential for elements? Plants can absorb most of the minerals. Absorb mineral present in the soil. Most of the minerals present in the soil, more than 60 elements of the 105 discovered so far are found in the different plants. The essentiality of an element is determined on the basis of water culture experiment. This water culture experiment proposed the scientist Arnold and Stout in 1939. The elements must be absolutely necessary for supporting normal growth and reproduction. The requirement of the element must be specific and not replaceable by another elements. Replaceable by elements. The elements must be directly involved in the metabolism or biological process of the plant body. See, essential elements in the lack of elements result in the inability of plant to complete its life cycle, then it is termed as essential elements. How can we find that elements are non-essential for plant? See, criteria for essential of elements, uh, potential for normal growth, potential for normal growth and reproduction. No, second one, non-replaceable by another elements. Next one, straight and direct involvement is there. Best example, magnesium. Magnesium, iron. Magnesium is an essential element and cannot be replaced by any other element because constituent of a chlorophyll essential for photosynthesis required as a cofactor by many enzymes involved in cellular respiration and other metabolic pathway. The essential elements is the best example. Magnesium is the best example. Next one, iron. This is the second one is iron. Iron is an essential element and cannot be replaced. Essential elements cannot be replaced by any other elements. It is constituted by cytochrome. If an element satisfy all three criteria, it is considered to be essential elements. If it is fails to satisfy any of the above criteria, it is considered to be inert or non-essential elements. Okay, essential elements is the 20. How much of essential element? About 20 elements have been found to be essential elements. Out of these, 17 are given: carbon, nitrogen, magnesium, iron, boron, chlorine, hydrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, copper, magnesium, nickel, oxygen, potassium, calcium, zinc, molybdenum. These are all the essential elements. Non-essential elements, apart from essential elements, some more elements have been found to be essential for some plants. Cobalt, sodium, aluminium, silicon, vanadium, sedum. These are the non-essential elements. These are the non-essential elements. Essential and non-essential elements. Note that one here. Silicon is required by most grasses and cereals. Most gases and cereals. Sodium seems to be involved in membrane permeability. Each elements are often called functional elements or non-essential functional elements. Sodium and iodine. Sodium and iodine are essential for animals but are not needed to by majority of plants. Okay, see macro elements and micro elements. On the basis of the relative amount, quantitative requirement of the elements found in plants, essential elements are differentiated. Non-essential is not there. Only essential elements are differentiated into categories. One is a macro, second one is a micro. Macro essential elements which are present in easily detectable quantity, excess of 10 molar kg per dry matter. Micro is the essential element which are found in plants in trace only, less than 10 mole kg per dry matter. CHO, NSPK, MgCa, MgCa, Fe, Fe. These are the macro, and another one is the micro elements. Macro elements are usually involved in the synthesis of organic molecule and development of osmotic potential of the cell. About about 96%, about 96% of the dry matter of the plant is formed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. Micro elements are mostly involved. Elements are mostly involved in the functioning of enzymes as cofactor or methyl activators. What is the criteria placing essential elements category? That is the definition: micro element, micronutrient, the essential elements present in plant tissues, present in plant tissues in trace. Hmm. Here, in addition to the 17 essential elements listed above, there are a few more beneficial elements: sodium, silicon, cobalt, cerium, that are specially required by higher plants. Okay, types of essential elements grouped into four broad categories of the basic derivatives: essential elements, structural elements. This is the four boarded categories based on the derivation functions. The first one, structural elements. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen are structural elements, structural essential elements present in biomolecular. The second one, components of energy related compounds. Magnesium and phosphorus are part of chlorophyll and ATP, ADP respectively. This is the components of energy released compounds. The next one, third one, activators or inhibitor of enzyme. Activator or inhibitor of enzyme. Molybdenum, zinc, magnesium. Molybdenum is activator of nitrogen enzyme. Nitrogen enzyme. Zinc. Zinc is an activator of alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme. Magnesium is an activators for RUBP, carboxylase, oxygenase, and RUBP carboxylase and oxygenase and PEP carboxylase enzyme. Ka important for opening of the this is the osmotic potential. Osmotic potential osmotic potential maintaining elements. Osmotic potential maintaining elements. Potassium important. Potassium important for opening. Potassium important for opening, opening and closing of stomata. Chlorides play important role. Sodium is important for some plants. These are the four categories, board of the four categories of the essential elements. Source of essential elements, all elements which entire into plants are derived from the atmosphere, water, and soil. Soil a reservoir of essential elements. Soil is a reservoir of essential elements and is rich in ions, inorganic salts, air, water, and useful microbes. Carbon enters the plants from atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Hydrogen is obtained mainly from water. Oxygen comes from air and water, often in the form of inorganic ions. Plants absorb nitrogen in component state from the soil. All the other, all other elements needed by the plants are absorbed from the soil, which are derived from the parent rocks of degenerating. What are the non-essential and mineral elements? The essential elements obtained by the plants from the soil are called mineral elements. Most of the elements are mineral elements. The essential elements such as carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen obtained by the plants from air or water. Air or water are known as non-essential, non-mineral elements. These are the non-mineral elements. Nitrogen is considered a unique element. Nitrogen is considered is a unique element as it is derived from both, as it is derived from both mineral and non-mineral sources. Essential elements on the basis of source. Essential elements on the basis of the source. Mineral elements, non-mineral elements. Mineral elements formed by weathering, weathering or rocks and get mixed with the soil. This is the absorption by the plants from the soil, almost most of the elements. Next one is the nitrogen is a unique element obtained from the mineral and non-mineral sources. Mineral and non-mineral sources. Non-mineral element source is air or water. Example, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The elements that are required for various metabolic activities like regulation of cell membrane, permeability, cell membrane permeability, osmotic pressure, pressure of the cell sap, and are part of nucleic acid, enzymes, and proteins and proteins get duplicated from the soils that are under constant and continuous constitution cultivation of plants and are replenished fertilizer, for example nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium fertilization and potassium fertilization. The potassium fertilizers are this one. Coming to the critical concentration. Uh, critical concentration. Here, critical concentration. This one is the main source of critical concentration. The concentration of essential, the concentration of essential elements below with grow in plant. Below with grow in below with grow in plants. With grow in plants is released. It is termed as released. It termed as the critical concentration elements. At this are lower than the concentration becomes. Mineral deficiency in plants, the abnormality or deformalities caused in the plants due to deficiency of essential elements are called deficiency symptoms or hunger signs. The deficiency symptoms disappear when the deficient mineral nutrient is provided to plant. If the deficiency prolong, the plant may be evenly die. The role and deficiency first macro elements. I'll explain to the first one is the macro elements. Mm, First is the nitrogen. Okay. The first elements is the macro elements nitrogen. The source of nitrogen are the source of nitrogen are soil and atmosphere. Nitrogen is absorbed from the soil in the form of nitrates, nitrites, and ammonia salt. The chief source of nitrate are sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, ammonia nitrate, and calcium nitrate. Atmospheric nitrogen can be fixed and made availability to the plant by certain bacteria. Nitrogen is absolutely Nitrogen is absolutely essential for the synthesis of protein. In addition, nitrogen is found found is such important molecules as amino acid, purines, pyrimidines, porphyrin, and coenzymes coenzymes. Coenzymes. Purines and pyrimidines are found in nucleic acid. That nucleic acid is called RNA and DNA, which are essential for protein synthesis. The porphyrin structure is present in the structure of chlorophyll and the cytochrome enzyme. These two compounds play a very important role in photosynthesis and respiration, respectively. These nitrogen deficiency symptoms. What are the symptoms are there? This is the functions. What are the symptoms? Nitrogen is very much mobile and is therefore translocated rapidly to the younger leaves. This is where deficiency symptoms appear first in older leaves. Chlorosis appear first on the older leaves. As chlorophyll fade, xanthophyll and carotenoids are unmarked, exposing areas of orange and red tints first in the older leaves and then younger ones. Shortage of nitrogen result in the acetylation in the rate of formation of purple pigments. Anthocyanin in the leaves, anthocyanin in the leaves, which become purplish in color. Stem and twigs also become reddish yellow with numerous red and brown spot. Numerous red and brown spot. Red and brown spot because of their smaller leaves yearly defoliation and brown spot because of their small leaves early defoliation and so suppressed shoot growth. Nitrogen suppressed shoot growth. Nitrogen deficient plants are conspicuously thin spare foliage and weak. The flower stressed. This is the cause nitrogen. Coming to the second one, phosphorus. Functions of phosphorus. It is absorbed by the plants from the soil in the form of phosphate ion that is called H2PO4 minus R and HPO4 minus 2 minus. Phosphorus is one of the most important element for the plant. Necessity of the phosphorus was discovered by Valley scientist VILLE in 1953 to 57. Next one, Trog scientist in 1916 proposed that according to the law of mass actions, the chemical equilibrium, the reaction making the phosphorus of phosphate rock available to the plant can be represented. The phosphate in plants occur in the great amount in meristematic parts, seeds, and fruits than the rest of the plant. It is an established fact that low crop production is due to the lack of phosphorus. Phosphorus in their respective phosphate, which is the calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium, sodium, are able to help the tissue regenerate. Calcium phosphate state help in the formation of bones. Iron phosphate state help in the synthesis of blood hemoglobin. Magnesium phosphate state help in synthesis of blood hemoglobin. Magnesium phosphate help in spasticity and nerve and muscle fiber. Sodium combined with phosphorus result in the decomposition of lactic acid and convert into carbonic acid and water. Thus, it maintains the pH entire organism. Low carb production is due to the deficiency of phosphorus. Foliage dark green, delayed growth, lower leaves sometimes yellow between veins but more often showing the tendency of develop purple colored of petioles. In early stage leaves shows yellowing the leaf margin and the later stage gradually drying and dropping from bottom of plant. Branching is reduced, root development checked and maturity of the plant delayed. Phosphorus is a visual structure component of the nucleic acid, nucleoproteins, phytin, phospholipids. Next one is the sugar phosphates, ATP, NADPH, and numerous phosphorylated compounds. Highest amount of phosphorus is found in meristematic parts. Meristematic parts, maturing seeds, and fruits. Phosphorus is actively involved in the synthesis of nucleoprotein. Firstly, by being present in the nucleic acid, and secondly, by activating the amino acid for protein synthesis. The roles of the coenzyme NAD and NADP and ATP is processes like photosynthesis and respiration are well known. This is a important. What is the deficiency symptoms? Phosphorus deficiency. Phosphorus deficiency causes decrease in the rate of protein synthesis. It also results in the accumulation of carbohydrates and soluble nitrogenous compound. Similar to nitrogen phosphorus deficiency may cause may cause premature leaf fall and purple anthocyanin pigmentation. The anthocyanin is found in excessive amount. The leaves become dark, dark blue green color. Band brown necrotic areas developed on leaves and petiole. The growth root shoot extremely restricted. Branching is spare. Flowering also delay. This is the leaf fall, purple spot, red color spots of the leaves. This is the phosphorus. Coming to the third one, sulfur. Sulfur, the function of the sulfur, uh, it is absorbed from the it is observed from the soil as sulfate ion. It is used in the formation of sulfur-bearing amino acid. Example, cysteine. Cysteine and methionine. Beside sulfur is essential for the synthesis of the sulfur-bearing vitamins. Example, and biotin thiamine and coenzyme A. Sulfur acid is in the synthesis of soil and appears to be synthesis of the soil and appears to be associated with chlorophyll synthesis. Sulfur is constituent of pyridoxine and of the liquid found in chloroplast. Sulfur bridges S bond S. Sulfur bridges have important role in determining protein structure and sulfury group often part of active centers of the enzyme. What are the deficiencies of the symptom sulfur? Sulfur is relatively immobile and therefore deficiency symptoms appear first in young leaves. Young leaves appear in young leaves. Sulfur starvation result in storage of protein. As in nitrogen deficiency, plant, there is a reduced leaf, stunted growth, and a general chlorosis followed by the production of anthocyanin pigmentation. In some species, an extensive root system, a hard woody stem, and some accumulation of nitrates and carbohydrates were the other effect of sulfur deficiency. Sulfur deficiency is more likely an acidic soil shallow. Chlorosis and leaves and stunted growth. Where the acidic soil is there, in that soil, two sulfur disease are there. See, this is a sulfur disease. This is a potassium disease. See, potassium is less. The leaves are how to dry. Deficient appear first in older tissue, then later younger tissue. Leaves show spot the tips, loss of cambial activity. See, this is the potassium. Coming to the next one is the potassium is completely completed. No, phosphorus is completed. Yes or no? Phosphorus is completed. Now potassium. Potassium, it is observed by the plant. Potassium is Already potassium is completed. How to potassium? Uh, Phosphorus is completed. Potassium also sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus is completed. Now we can observe to the potassium. See, 1 second. How to potassium is the deficiency are there. Phosphorus, calcium, magnesium. Okay, potassium ions help to maintain an ion cation balance in cell involved in protein synthesis involved in the protein synthesis. Potassium is the only monovalent ca- ca- uh, cation essential for plant growth. Monovalent cation essential for plant growth. It is this potassium. It is found in large amount of rapidly growing tissue. Growing tissue. Potassium is not known to enter into the composition of important organic compound found in plants. It acts as an activator of over 40 enzymes, including the enzymes of including the enzymes of phosphorylation and protein synthesis. According to Webster scientist in 1953, potassium is essential for activating the enzyme concerned in the synthesis of polypeptide from amino acid. It is needed by the enzyme DNA polymerase and by the mitochondria. It is the commonest free ion in the cell and help to the keep the cell electrically natural and perhaps stabilities emulsions. Potassium is essential for formation of sugar and starch. Formation of sugar and starch and also for their translocation there throughout the plant. It is also needed in cell division, reduction of nitrate, development of chlorophyll, stomatal movement, etc. Potassium is believed to be essential in maintaining the cellular organization, permeability, and hydrations. The potassium deficiency symptoms inhibit synthesis of protein, which result in the accumulation of organic nitrogenous compound in the plant cell. Carbohydrates metabolism is checked, the rate of respiratory increases. Scoring of older leaves is most important symptoms on fruit trees. The leaves are decolorized. The leaf tip and margin showed generally chlorosis. The storage of large amount of carbohydrates in the underground stem of sugar beet, potatoes, etc. is very much increased probably due to checking of the enzymatic hydrolysis of starch into soluble sugars in the leaves. Okay, this is a potassium. See, the potassium, the leaf ending out to this one. Next one is the calcium. The other one is calcium. It plays predominant role in composition of cell wall and protoplasm. Reed, 1907, Bamford, scientist name, 1931, Verma in 1976, confirmed its necessity and deficiency. Since then, various roles of calcium in plant life have been confirmed. There are the gross morphological effect of deficiency. Verma and Mehta 1987 found that decay of leaves begin from margin and appears fringed, followed by hooking young leaves. Mature leaves have a normal dark green color. Older leaves develop chlorosis and necrotic tips. Calcium deficiency, internal anatomy, Bamford scientist in 1931, Davies in 1949, Venind 1949 have reported showing down of the cell division followed by death permeability root apex. This one is the discount, this different. The calcium deficiency leaves mitotic main important in the synthesis of cell wall, middle lamella, activator of amylase enzyme, ATPases, phospholipids used in mitotic spindle fiber during the division, involved in normal functioning of the cell membrane. Next one is the normal functioning of the cell membrane. Next one is calcium deficiency. Leaves contain appreciably more protein nitrogen than normal leaves, indicating that gross protein synthesis was not restricting the growth of the plant. In calcium is lacking oxalic acid, acetic, succinic, and the formic acid accumulate in such quantities that uh, that they become injurious of the cells. Calcium has many roles. Calcium has many roles in the structure of mobile metabolism of the plant. One important function of calcium in the plants is to give strength. It is a constituent of the middle lamella, in which it is the absent in the formation of calcium plate, calcium pectase. It essential calcium pectate. It essential for the continued growth of the apical meristems. Maintenance sodium, potassium, calcium with fairly narrow limits would appear to essential for the different permeability of the cell membrane. If this in these cases, possible trace a correlation between the calcium. That is the calcium is the stunted growth and chlorosis of this one. Next one is the magnesium. Magnesium is the next one is the magnesium. Magnesium ions is called the this one is independent. Magnesium is the indispensable. Magnesium is the indispensable uh, for the formation of indispensable for the formation of chlorophyll, since it is then one and the only minerals constitutions constituents of the chlorophyll. This magnesium is intimately associated with the intimation associated uh, associated with the phosphorus metabolism and is phosphorus metabolism metabolism and the particularly essential for enzyme involved in the phosphate transfer reactions. It plays role It plays role main important in the ATP and ADP inorganic phosphate. ADP and ATP inorganic. Magnesium is an activator for many of the enzymes involved. Many of the enzymes involved in the carbohydrates metabolisms. Such enzymes and the reaction with which they are concerned are indicated in magnesium act as the ATP is also required. This magnesium active the enzyme fluorosis between the leaf and veins necrosis purple color spot. Okay, next one. Uh, After magnesium, next one iron. What is the iron? What is the next another functions? Boron, iron, zinc. Next one is the iron. One second. Magnesium deficiency, main invariable, invariable, invariable result in extensive invertal chlorosis of the leaves. Next one, ultimately development leaves development affected later on, ultimately anthocyanin pigment necrosis spottings also. Coming to the next iron is the most important. Uh, Iron is normally absorbed in the ferrous form, though it can be absorbed in the ferric form as well as the in the later case it is rapidly reduced within the cell into the ferrous forms, the physiologically active state of the element. In a neutral or alkaline soil, iron is in the insoluble form. Excess of limiting, therefore, often result in the iron deficiency symptom even through the soil is rich in iron. Iron is always present in the soluble form in an acidic soil and is therefore radially absorbed by the plant. Iron essential for the synthesis of chlorosis. Iron found in the iron synthesis of the one found in the peridoxin, flavoprotein, iron porphyrin protein, which include cytochrome, peridoxidase, and catalase. It therefore plays an important role in respiratory mechanism. What is the deficiency of iron? Iron deficiency plant develop pronounced intervenial chlorosis similar to that caused by the magnesium deficiency, whereas in chronic iron stichosis, young leaves may become yellow, white, or white with prominent green veins. The manganese deficiency result in a molted appearance of the leaf. Sometimes the chlorotic patches in leaf are due to pressure of iron in the unavailable form, ferric form. In such spot only, it is deficiency seriously impedes aerobic respiration and other related process. Fruit tree are particular sensitive. The micro elements trace manganese. Manganese is the primarily manganese function as an enzyme activator in the several reaction of respiration. Nitrogen. The function is the activity certain enzyme involved in photosynthesis, respiration, nitrogen metabolism, photolytic of water, that is photosynthesis, splitting of water to liberate magnesium. Manganese is the most in the Hill's reaction. This water splitting is most. What is the deficiency? Chlorosis, gray spot on leaves. Coming to the zinc. Zinc is the activity various enzymes like carboxylase, carboxylase required for synthesis of oxygen, malformation of leaves also. Next, copper, activation of certain enzymes essential for overall metabolism. Stunted growth, what is the definition? The deficiency, stunted growth, internal interval venal chlorosis in leaves, necrosis of the tip or young leaf, die back of the shoot. Next, boron. Required for boron, uptake of water and calcium for membrane functioning. Pollen germination, cell elongation, carbohydrate translocation, death of stem, in case deficiency, death of stem and root apex, loss of facial dominancy, abscission of flower, small size and fruits also. This next one, molybdenum. Molybdenum active certain metabolisms. Nitrogen deficiency is the nitrogen deficiency interval. Chlorosis, reactive chlorosis, retardation of growth. Chlorine, maintain solutes concentration along with sodium, sodium, potassium, maintain ion cation balance cells. Essential for oxygen evaluation in photosynthesis. White, wilt, wilt leaves, stunted wilt leaves, stunted roots, growth and reducing factors. These are the macro and micro. Appearance deficiency. The deficiency symptoms may affect the whole plant or be restricted to particular organ or part of the organ. The symptoms also depend on the mobility of the elements in the plants. Actively mobile elements keep growing, moving along with the water to different parts, growing the younger part, growing part to younger part of the plant. Then the symptoms first appear on the older part, that is a deficiency symptoms of nitrogen, potassium, and magnesium. Immobile elements, the deficiency symptoms appear first in the young tissue. First in the young tissues, if the elements are comparatively immobile and do not get transported to young, young part in case of deficiency symptoms of sulfur and calcium. See, deficiency symptoms, chlorosis, yellowing chlorosis, what type of nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, iron, stunted growth, same, NKCASZNBMBOCL, interval chlorosis, iron, purple chlorosis, NPSNGMO, necrosis, calcium, cupric, potassium, and magnesium. Permeable premature leaf fall or bud PMGCU. Inhibition of cell division NSMOK. Wrinkling of central grains NSMO. Dormancy lateral bud NSMO. Delayed flowering NSMO. Dieback of stem and leaves K and Cu. Wilted leaves Cl. Death of shoot and root tip B. Boron. Bushy habit of stem potassium. Scored leaf of tips also potassium. What is the toxicity? Toxicity microelements, excessive amount of mineral elements is a toxicity of a plant. Almost all the minerals have a narrow range requirement become toxicity of relatives. Hmm toxicity of the relatives, relatively low concentration. If any tissues, if your concentration of mineral that reduce the dry weight of tissue by about 10% of concentration toxins. The critical concentration of toxins varies. Uh, various for the different different for different various from the different plants. For example, behind 60 millimicrons magnesium toxins for soybean while suffering from the sunflower, it concentrated being toxic as to extended the 300 mgu. Magnesium also complete for uptake with iron and magnesium is binding with enzyme. It complete with magnesium inhibits. Okay, this is the initial phases, mechanism of absorption, initial phases and metabolic phases. Steps initial phases is the positive process. This is a metabolic is a active process. This is a influent facts. This one is a influence and effluence slows. Next one, movement through apoplastic pathway, movement through symplastic pathway. This is the transmembrane protein selectively process joint channel help in the movement. Plasmodesmata help in uh, helps into the movement. This is the total movements of this one. I will stop my share. This is a total mineral nutrients How do mineral nutrients are useful for the plants? What are the importance of minerals? What are the macro elements? What are the micro elements? These are things are you can observe to detail studied by today class. Okay. Okay, thank you. Help. Thank you.